Hi everyone, and thanks for watching my online lesson on compound interest. So this question here says, Toby invested £4,500 for 2 years in a savings account. He was paid 4% per annum compound interest. How much did Toby have in his savings account after 2 years? So what we need to figure out here is, at the end of 1 year, I need to find 4% of 4,500 and add that on. That's how much he'll have after 1 year. Then after 2 years, he's going to have 4% of that new amount of what he has after 1 year, and then I add that on again. Now this question is quite a simple one because I'm only doing it over 2 years, so I could go through that method and it wouldn't take too long. But there is a much quicker way of doing it, and we need to know how to do it this way so that if they give me a time frame like 12 years, I don't spend a long time answering these questions because this is only a 3-mark question. Okay, so using multipliers then. At the end of 1 year, Toby would have 4,500, and if I want to do a 4% increase, I will multiply that by 1.04. So that's how much Toby has after 1 year. Now, to find out how much he has after 2 years, I'm going to multiply whatever this is again by 1.04. So this will give me the answer. Now there is an even quicker way to do this. You'll notice that this bit here, I've got the same number multiplied by itself. So this can actually be written as 1.04 squared. So to type it in my calculator quicker, I'm actually just doing 4,500 times 1.04 squared. So you might notice there's a link between the numbers that are in my question and the numbers I have in this formula here. So this number that I start with is whatever the starting amount is. So in this question it was £4,500. This number here is my multiplier. So I need to work out what that multiplier is for either an increase or a decrease. And then the number that I have here as my indices, my index number, is however many periods of time that interest occurs over. So because here it's per annum, which means per year, and it's 2 years, I have a 2 there. So this is time period. The reason I'm not calling it amount of years is because sometimes they can say it's a 0.5% interest every month for a year. So it's how many time periods it goes through. So when I type this in my calculator, I get 4867.2, and because it's money I need to make sure it's 2 decimal places, so I'm going to make that 2 into 0.20. So that's my answer. Now that we know how to use our formula, let's look at another question and see if we can do this much quicker. So this says a company bought a van that had a value of £12,000. Each year the value of the van depreciates by 25%. Work out the value of the van at the end of 3 years. So let's use that formula. So my starting amount is 12,000, and then I need to multiply that by my multiplier. In this case, the van depreciates by 25%, so my multiplier is going to be 0.75. Now I need to work out what my power is going to be. This says every year the value of the van depreciates, and they want me to work out the value of the van at the end of 3 years, so my index number here is going to be 3. So all I need to do now is type this in my calculator, and this gives me 5062.5, and again it's money, I need to make sure it's 2 decimal places, so that's 0.50. Here's 2 questions for you to try. You can pause the video and then unpause when you're ready to see the solutions. Here's Here's the full work solution. So this first one was slightly trickier because I had a 2.5% interest rate. So my multiplier was 1.025, and then we had to round our answer to 2 decimal places. And in the second one, I've got a 9-year time period to work out, so you definitely need to be comfortable using this formula, so you don't waste a lot of time here doing 9 years worth of interest. And again, round your answer to 2 decimal places. There is one more key skill we need to know when working with compound interest, and this is when they ask you to work out the number of years, so it's working backwards. So this question says Jasper invested £2,400 for n years in a savings account. He was paid 7.5% per annum compound interest. At the end of n years, he had £3,445.51 in the savings account. Work out the value of n. So I'm going to start by writing out my formula just as I have before. So my starting amount is 2,400 multiplied by 1.075, and the number of years, they've called it n. I don't know what it is, but I know my answer is 3,445.51. So all I can really do here is in my calculator is try different values for n and go higher or lower depending on the answer until I get the right number. So I'm going to try first 3. Let's try 3. So 2,400 times 1.075 cubed. Let's see what happens when I try that. That gives me 2,981.51. So this is too low. So it must be over a longer time period than 3. So let's try 4. Let's see what happens when I use 4. That's 3,205.13. Again, that's still too low. I'm getting pretty close now, though I feel like the answer might be 5, but I need to test it out to be sure. 1.075 to the power of 5. And yes, that gets me the right answer. 3,445.51. So the question was work out the value of n. How many years was it? It was 5 years, so n is 5. Here's a question for you to try. You can pause the video again and then unpause when you're ready to see the solution. Here's a solution. So the number of years was 4. Obviously you might have tried different numbers. You might have started with 2, or you might have gone up to 5 and then had to go down. It doesn't matter as long as you get the answer of 4. Thank you for watching.